Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Well, there is something that you have in your life. It's holding you back from moving your life forward. It's holding you back potentially for being successful. And you deal with it on a regular basis, whether you really know it or not.
Yep.
We all deal with it. It's a four-letter word, starts with F, and I'm going to say it right here. You can cover your ears if you want to. That's up to you. I am talking about fear.
Absolutely.
Fear.
Our
Just-
favorite four-letter word.
We got it going on. We're going to talk about it, how to overcome it, how it manifests, how it looks.
Yeah.
Manifest is a key word because she helps people manifest their future
Yeah.
and bring to them all the things that they want, desire, and believe they deserve. She's a
Yeah.
law of assumption coach, and she's back with us. Susan Carabello is our professional of the year. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This is a great thing we're talking about today
Yeah.
because it is, I think, the baseline and foundation for a lot of the challenges that we go through in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I just mentioned to you before we logged on that I had a download that came through that was very clear. And it was really why we decided that this was going to be the topic of discussion for today. Fear manifests in many, many ways, right? It's fear manifests as overthinking, as being insecure, not being present is a big one. It's taking us out of this present moment and jumping into the future. We're getting worried, we're getting anxious, right? But can we look at it, for what it is, which is just a fear-based energy that is just stuck in our bodies, right? Like, as we've discussed before, everything is energy. Like, love is energy, money is an energy, fear is an energy. And we consciously can make the choice to keep feeding the fear, or can we stop, pull the plug up, and start feeding, the energy of love and acceptance and non-judgment, kindness, compassion, nurturing, any other word but fear. But I think where we get stuck is that we decipher that we're in that energy of fear. And I think we spoke briefly about fear having two acronyms: face everything and run. When you get so scared that you just decide that I'm going to go run and hide, or can you face everything and rise? That's another acronym.
Well,
what was the other one that we just,
false evidence appearing real.
False evidence appearing real. So there's three acronyms, right? Face everything and run, face everything and rise, or false evidence appearing real, right? Like, fear gets a complete hold of us where our bodies start to react, and we're like getting in this energy of like being super scared, when it's, if you stop and observe it, it's like, well, I'm sitting here, like I'm okay. I have my glass of water. I'm doing a podcast. We're good, right? But if you're not observant of that fear, it can take you down a path that you don't want to be down. And as we know, energy creates, right? So if you give it enough energy, you're just asking to recreate it in this present moment.
I find it interesting for me that even though I believe in energy and what it is and how it can help us or hurt us, depending on where you focus it, I never looked at fear as an energy.
Yeah, it's an energy like everything else. Right, love is an energy, right? Love makes you feel good. It makes you feel alive. It makes you feel playful. It makes you feel secure and safe and happy, right? That's the feeling that love provides. But fear, again, is just, it's an energy, and we get to choose that energy in every single moment, right? We get to choose the energy of fear by our thoughts, our actions, and our behaviors. And we can, if we can choose fear, we can also choose love, right? You can choose the opposite end of the spectrum, or the balance, right? You can choose love or fear, and you get to decide. But a lot of times I think we get stuck in deciphering that, where is this story coming from? and not recognizing its fear because it may have been a pattern that we're just used to.
Well, I want to riff on false evidence appearing real
Yes.
in that they've done these studies before, and every
Hmm.
couple of years it comes out. And usually it's about 93%. It's always in the 90 percentile, somewhere there, 90 to 93% of the things that we worry about never happen,
It's
never materialize.
exactly.
You're wasting energy
Hmm.
on nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Exactly. That's exactly it. We, myself included, we focus on things, the what ifs, like what if this happens? What if that happens? Like, and we focus on the worst case scenario. And 99% of the time, the worst case scenario doesn't happen. But if you keep feeding it,
Yep.
right, it's going to materialize because that's how energy works. I'm trying to think of the quote by
Mm.
Carl Jung. Until the unconscious becomes conscious, you'll repeat the same pattern and call it fate. Right. So, like, if we have a fearful pattern in our subconscious mind that is just like running the show of our life, until you become aware of it, you're going to keep creating from it. And then you're
Wow.
going to be like, well, look, this happened. It's like, well, yes, it did happen because you kept feeding the fear until you can become aware that the fear is there and that you're aware of it and that you have the power to change it into something else.
You basically made it happen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and I don't want to say unfortunately, sometimes, we need to repeat the pattern until we learn the lesson from it.
You know, back in the day, I would worry about almost everything. Like
Yeah.
even financially. You got
Hmm.
to support your life, your family, and things were fine. There was no indication of any issues whatsoever. But I'd be like, oh, what if I lost that job? What if that happened? And what if that happened? What a waste. Like, I'm
Well,
like,
that's what happens, and if you don't change the story, right? If that's the opportunity, like when you're feeling fearful in that moment, you have the opportunity. The universe is like presenting you on a plate. You have the opportunity to change this story into something that better serves you, or you're going to repeat it until you actually learn the lesson. Your choice. But many times we don't have the awareness or the mindfulness that that's exactly what's happening. And that's the reason why it's repeating itself. Because every time a scenario repeats itself, we have the opportunity to change it. That's why things keep coming up until we actually stop, become aware of the pattern, and use our mindset to change it into something that better serves us. If this thing that's making you so scared that you want to run away and hide from the world, then we need to sit with this and find out what the story is that's driving the bus of this fear. Pull the weed up, toss it, and replace it with something that better serves you. And yes, the story may come up again, but now you're in your power where you're like, oh, I see this story. This story does not serve me. I'm choosing love instead. I'm going to choose a better thought that better serves me. And I know that love is your truth, right? Love is who we are. It's not something we do. It's an energy within us, but it's also who we are, right? We are born divine beings, and we are born in love. We are born out of love. And when we know that, when love is your true birthright, it's your true energy, we have a choice to go back to that love each and every time.
easier said than done.
Yes.
What are some ways that can be impactful to help you turn that fear into something that truly supports you?
It's sitting with the uncomfortable story. You have to sit with the fear. You can try and hide it. You can try and run away from it. You can try to pretend that it's not there. I've done that. You
Mm.
you put, something over your eyes. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. But in your body or in your energy, that is still there, and it's still um creating. it's a process, right? It's a process. You have to become aware of the fear, and then you get to decide what story or what how you are going to replace that energy of fear into something that better serves you, into a state of joy, excitement, love, abundance, whatever it is. So if you're so fearful that you're going to lose your job or get fired from your job, you have to sit with that story. Well, why do I feel like I'm going to get fired from my job? Did I get fired from my job someplace else? That's very much a possibility, right? So
Sure.
having that experience, it's already in your energy field. But you can, at that point, when you're getting that fearful thought, be like, stop, no, I'm not going to get fired from my job. I do my job well. I I am valued at work. Whatever story you need to take to replace that is what is going to make that change going forward, where you will be actually the most valued employee at your company, right? And it's something as simple as that. But until you become aware of the story and the narrative that's running in the background, you're just going to repeat it. But it never takes time. It takes awareness. It takes
Hmm.
awareness of the thought. Like once you become aware of the thought, you have the power to change it. But if you're not aware of the pattern's going to repeat until you finally say, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm done with this story. I'm done with this pattern. I'm going to change it. And then sit with yourself, right? Sit with in meditation, sit quietly, quiet your mind and say, yes, I have the power to change this. What is the true story about this? And in case like a job, maybe you gotten laid off, you can sit in that energy and be like, you know what? I work hard. I do my job well. I'm appreciated. I've gotten a raise every year that I've been there.
Hmm.
Like I'm valued. So no, I'm not going to lose my job. So then what happens? You loosen the grip on that story. And then when there comes a time that like layoffs may happen, you're not going to be one of the people like on the cutting board because you've decided you did because that's your energy and you focused on your energy and focused on the fact that no, I'm valued. I'm valued at my job. I'm valued and appreciated. Sometimes there's circumstances outside of our control. Like, so I don't want to say that may not happen, but there's a good chance that you'd be the one to be kept on board because you have that belief about you. Remember, it's your belief about you and the world around you is what is creating everything for you.
Well, even so, if you're worrying about a job, the the energy you put out there, if you're believing that I'm good, there might be things going on here
Yeah,
at the job, but I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm good. It's going to elevate your employer and your coworkers' perception of you,
exactly.
and
Exactly.
probably help you keep that job. But on the other side of that, do you feel that you need to build up some kind of resilience to
Mhm.
know that you can bounce back? So let's
Yes.
say you lost a job. What's your fear? Oh, well, where am I going to find another one?
Yeah,
Well, if it's happened before, you bounce back. Well, I did find another job. Maybe it wasn't the best one, but the one after that, perfect.
exactly.
Those situations.
Yeah, it's confidence.
Yeah, yeah.
Confidence. Like resilience is confidence. Like you have to be so certain in who you are, that nothing can shake you. I use Tom Brady as an example, right? He was the backup quarterback at New England, and he was okay with being the backup quarterback until, I think it was Drew Bledsoe got hurt many, many years ago. And then Tom Brady stepped in and had his time to shine, right? But he wasn't the starter. He wasn't the first man out of the gate. And probably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, right? But what was the difference is that he was very confident in who he was. He was
Hmm.
confident that he was a great quarterback, and he showed up each and every day just as that. He showed up as being the best. And what happened? He left New England, went to Tampa Bay, won Super Bowls in both cities, And, you know, history, it's there, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference? He showed up as the most resilient, the most confident version of himself each and every time, even when it didn't look favorable, it ended up working out in his favor.
And there's been some times, even in recent times, they
Mhm.
did the roast on him and things like that.
Yeah.
And I would look at him and say, he's a little cocky. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be some
Yeah. And
perceptions I
I
would
think
have.
that's what people have. Yeah, it's safe to assume that people have used that word for him. Yeah, absolutely. But
But look at where he was, where he is, where he went, where he is. No, it's just confidence. I don't think it's, I
it's,
look at it
yeah,
in a different way. And I think it's also mindset.
yeah.
So I always had a fear of blood tests. I don't know if I shared this with you, and I'm not alone. A lot of men like, oh, I don't want to go,
Yeah.
would put them off. Um, what's the fear? How am I going to react? Am I going to pass out? Is it going to be embarrassing? How am I going to feel? All of that would swirl around until I finally turned it around within my mindset in
Yeah.
that I'm going to do something for myself. I'm going to get some information. All right, maybe I'm not going to be happy with the
Mhm.
information. Maybe it's going to be a perfect clean bill of health, whatever, but at least I'm doing something for myself. And that, when I reframed it that way, I didn't have any fear. I just walked
That's
in.
it. And that's it right there. It's can you a lot of times we set up these stories for ourselves. We may make ourselves feel guilty, or we we don't step into our fullest power because we don't want to be
Mm,
seen or heard, so we step back. And
mm,
what are we doing? We're doing ourselves a disservice, right? Certain things, like,
mm.
we're meant to experience life to the fullest. So why would you be holding back on being your greatest self, right? It's a mindset shift, excuse me.
That wasn't the F word, though.
It wasn't the F word, sorry. Um,
Yeah.
but
I,
it's shifting that mindset to something that better serves you, like being knowing. You have to know in here in your heart what is meant for you. You have to listen to what your soul is telling you and become the most confident version of yourself in each and every moment, and allowing your soul to guide you. When you allow your soul to guide you, it is not going to take you down a road that is going to be dangerous or fearful,
yep.
period. It just won't happen.
What you said a moment ago, aside from that word, uh,
We're going to
is
put a bleep over that.
don't even, it didn't really sound like that. Um, Stepping into your power.
Yeah,
When you don't do it, you're not fully maximizing. It's like having a car. It's like having a Maserati and you drive it 18 miles an hour no matter where you go.
exactly.
You're
Exactly.
wasting what you have.
Mhm.
And, if you jammed on the pedal of that car, it's not an ego. It's I'm using this thing because that's what it was designed for. If I take it up to
Exactly.
55 or 95, whatever it is. And same thing with yourself. You're just wasting you if you're not maximizing whatever you got and what's usually holding you back.
Exactly. I know a friend of mine and I had this conversation, and I'm just trying to remember the details of it. Um, you're wasting your gift.
Yeah.
You're wasting your gift. You're wasting what God, the universe source, has intended for you in this lifetime if you're afraid to step into your greatest self. And it's if you think about it from that perspective, like, God gave you this gift. God gave you this gift and ability to create your life however you want. Your soul is guiding you. Can you A, trust it? And B, can you step in?
Mm.
Like, if we're not doing that, then who are we doing a disservice to? Ourselves and God, right? God gave you this gift, but God's going to let you figure it out until you decide, I'm all in and I'm going for it. And that's when you step in, and it's letting go and really having faith in that higher power to guide you. It's like, okay, you know what? I've been doing it my way. My way doesn't seem to be right because my way's filled with fear. I'm going to trust you instead. And that's the more loving way because it's more loving to me. I'm going to
Mhm.
let go and let you guide me.
I just picked up something. I always do from what you say, but something came very clear
Hmm.
in that, let's say you have uh we all have a gift,
Yes.
maybe a few of them, or purpose.
Yeah.
And if you say that, well, I don't know if I'm that good. I don't know. I'll probably screw it up. Whatever your gift is, if
Yeah.
it's cutting hair, public speaking, whatever it is, if
Hmm.
you turn around and you say, I'm not, I'll probably mess it up. I'm not even going to take a chance doing that. If that is inside, you feel that that's your gift, and
Yeah.
you feel that,
Hmm.
you are not going to screw it up.
You can't screw it up.
You can't screw it up.
You can't screw it up.
Yeah.
No, like that's the beauty of it.
It's your
And that's
superpower.
it's your superpower. If you know and hear what is meant for you, like you can't screw it up. Like you can do whatever you want, but guess what? You cannot mess this up. You can't mess up what is meant for you. You
Right.
can't. There's no
Right.
way. It's not possible because
Yeah.
God is God, the universe, source. Like I always use every verbiage because not everyone believes in God, but some people believe in source. So we just say higher power, source. You can't screw up what they have meant for you. You just can't. It's your job just to believe and have faith in what's going on in here and create from that space instead of creating from fear. And fear, unfortunately, is where we've been creating from unconsciously, right? That's our autopilot. That's the
Yeah.
autopilot. Like if we're operating on autopilot and
Mm.
just keep operating on autopilot, you're going to get the same results until you get the tap on the shoulder. It's time to make a change. Let's go. And then it's like, oh, well, okay, I'm trusting God, source, universe, right? I'm trusting that now. I don't know how it's going to play out because I have no experience trusting that. So fear's still over here running in the background and not fully on board with what's going on. And then that's when things start to really like that's when the fear starts to come up a little bit more because now you're doing things outside your comfort zone and now we're trusting this other thing over here that we've never trusted before. We trust experience over faith, and that's where fear is like
Mm.
warning, 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 right? It's trying to stop you from getting hurt because we trust based on experience. We don't trust based on faith.
Ah, after all this time, why the fear did I not realize that? Because of fear.
It's fear because we don't know what we don't know, right? Until we finally get to a point where we're like, what the heck is going on and why are things not working out? You realize that you're operating from fear and based on experience instead of, stepping in and trusting and having faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why faith always has to be higher than your fear. Love is always over fear.
And your experience.
And
Your
experience. Like you,
experience.
you
Yeah.
have to let go of the experience because if you keep operating from experience, you're just expecting the same outcomes.
You're operating from your past because that's what
Exactly. You're
and
operating from the past, not the
and you can't do
present
that.
moment.
Even though if you have a ton of experience over here, um, there, of course, we've, have pitfalls and, we
Yeah.
trip and everything, even if it's our talent and our gift. But
Yeah.
if you have that faith and no fear, it's, it's like you need to go from point A to point B. And I'm not really sure how to get there, but if you
Yeah.
just get in the car and go, you're going to get there because it's like you said, it's autopilot.
It's
That's
autopilot.
what you were designed to do.
Right.
But I believe you need to really connect with yourself and feel it. So you know
Yes.
what your superpower, talent,
Mhm.
purpose is.
Exactly.
Uh,
You have to feel it, right?
right.
The feelings are what create, right? That energy, the energy in your body is the feeling, it's the emotion. Energy in motion is emotion, right? So the emotions create, right? The energy plus the feeling creates your reality.
Sure.
So if you're operating on autopilot and from fear, you're just creating from the past.
Right.
if you want to create a new experience for yourself, you have to step into faith instead. You have to step into faith and trust what is going on in here and allow this to guide you. As scary as it may seem, and you're I don't want to say the universe is going to test you, but the universe is going to ask you, like, okay, you say that you're this, you're embodying this new state of being. Do you still believe the story over here? The one over your shoulder? And you have a choice to be like, and react to the old story. Or can you be like, no, that's not my story anymore. I don't believe that. This is what I believe. This is what I know because I trust what you're telling me. And then that's when you embody that state of being. And that's when the change actually takes place and takes hold permanently.
And when it does, so cool.
No,
It is just,
it's
it's amazing how,
serendipitous, I think is the word.
And you look back, that was me. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. It's almost hard to compare the two once you've moved your life forward. And of course, there are many of us that aren't really sure what our purpose is. I have one friend who isn't working now because they don't want to do what they were doing, but they're trying to find something else, but they have squirrel brain. Like maybe we can do this or maybe we can do that, which is great, but they haven't identified what their superpower, what their purpose is.
Yeah.
And this is a part of what you do as a law of assumption coach. How do we connect with you, Susan?
It's you can go to my website at www.suecarabello.com. My email is susan@suecarabello.com or on Instagram at susancarabello_.
I have a men's group meeting tonight.
Nice.
And what we talked about today in realizing once you've identified what your talent, superpower, your purpose is, you can't screw it up.
You can't screw it up.
You can't screw it up.
Yeah, you just and that's where the faith comes in. You have to trust what your superpower is. I mean, and I speak from experience. Before I was a life coach, a law of assumption coach, a spiritual and energy teacher, I was a professional makeup artist, right? So talk about 360 here, but I had to, during COVID, I lost most of my business because of the shutdowns and whatnot. And I had to really trust what my soul was telling me and being like, you need to pivot and to shift. And this is where you're going. And I'm like, okay.
But you also identified, and we're out of time, but I just I was very surprised when you said that you had fears, anxiety. The person you described last time we got together.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know that's you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that was you. And there's, without any doubt, this is your superpower. What we're talking about today, your energy, your passion for all of it.
Yes, I love this. It's just, and I think what I love most about it is not just the subject matter, but the changes that I can see in other people by explaining how this works. That is why I'm so passionate about it, because it's easy and it's simple. And if you can apply it to your daily life, you can make changes like that.
My love, I've been studying this for years. And why did I not even realize that you can't screw up your talent when you've figured out what it is? Don't worry. It's going to work no matter what.
Exactly.
So stop
That's
with the fear. Man, let the fear
stop
go
with the
away.
Fear.
Stop.
I can't tell you how many downloads I get all the time. It's like, can you just let go and just let things happen? Can you just let things happen naturally?
Yeah.
You don't need to control it. I'm like, I know, but
it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing, but can you surrender? Can you surrender to that? Surrender the fear and just let go to the state of love and faith, and like that, it can change.
SueCarabello.com.
Yes.
You're there to help people and figure this whole thing out. I'm still figuring it out. Thank you so much for today.
Thanks.
We really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks. I appreciate it.
And when are you going away?
Next week. So we'll be back on the 13th or the 12th.
Oh, well, have a wonderful time.
Thanks. Right.
Jealous.
Yes. A nice week of warm weather.
Yeah.
We have warm weather here, so I can't complain.
I know. Yes. Enjoy. We'll catch up. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.